Welcome to another episode of the AfroMattt Show. This is episode 247, and if you're new here, welcome. This is a news, entertainment, education, comedy, conspiracy, spirituality, a bit of a broadcast situation that we've got going here. If you're into any of that, I mean, hop in, enjoy the ride. If you're returning here, thank you again for trusting me with an hour plus, maybe an hour 40, an hour, 2 hours of your time every week. I do appreciate it. I know how valuable time is. Like I said on a couple episodes, again, time is the most valuable thing. So enjoy that little intro. That is Around the World by ATC. I don't know what that stands for. A Touch of Class. A Touch of Class. ATC. That song may be meaning la 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 la, as in like putting your fingers in the ear, ignoring all the stuff that's going around outside, and remaining oblivious and not doing anything about it and just singing la 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 la. Maybe I don't really know it. I'm not going to do a song rundown or song breakdown, but we are actually going to do a book breakdown. We did finish this book. And we do have a story. Literally, I was about to record this podcast yesterday. Well, yesterday was my fiance's birthday, and I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but there was a car accident situation, and I was like literally thinking to myself that day, I'm like, dang, this podcast is going to be pretty chill. I don't have anything to talk about, and then I got into a car accident. So we'll cover that here in a minute. But first off, let's do a breakdown of a review of The Confederacy of Dunces. I read this book, and I use read loosely. This is the first book I've ever listened to as an audiobook, and I had to get a membership to Audible in order to do this. But this book was 100% worth it to listen to in audio form. I mean, the guy doing the voices was so good. So good. He was hitting, I mean, his timing, his comedic timing, the voice styling of Ignatius Riley was, I mean, superb, just perfect. And, I mean, his mom, and then you've got kind of the deadpan Mr. Levy and his bitch wife. And then you've got, I mean, there's so much. This book it has skyrocketed to one of my, like, top probably 5 favorite books of all time. And this book packs so much inside, and it's not depressing. You get all the value of like a high-quality, deep book, like a Brothers Karamazov or whatever the hell, or, you know, you get your Blood Meridian or Satire or, you know, whatever book you're reading, you know, your Moby Dick. You get that all packed inside of a comedic book. This is like, I've never read a comedy before, and this is the comedy book. This is an epic novel. And actually, let me give you a little bit of a backstory, because this is a tragic book. This is a tragic, I mean, the story of the novel itself is a comedy, but how it came to be is a tragedy, which adds to its supremacy. So the guy who wrote this, John Kennedy Toole, you might not recognize his name except for this book, because he only wrote this book. He wrote this book in the 1960s and shopped it around. He knew, I mean, you can imagine, he knew he had a masterpiece on his hands. He toured it around, tried to get it published, and all the publishers didn't want it. Either they didn't want to take a chance with an unknown author, or they didn't want to take a chance with a comedy book. But he toured it around, and nothing got picked up, so he ended up committing suicide. And I believe in the 1990s or late 1980s, his mother, who is loosely a character in this book, ended up taking his book and bringing it around, and finally one publisher picked it up, and that year it won the Pulitzer Prize. And that is, I mean, that's just a spectacular story, and it makes me wonder if we would have this book published and in my hands, if he had never killed himself. You have to ask questions like that. Is a story as important as the book? It's like a painter. Is the fact that he's a troubled artist, is that as important as the art itself? You don't I don't know, but it is, there is something to be said about these authors that kill themselves too soon. I mean, you've got your David Foster Wallace. You've got your who else killed themselves? I mean, hundreds of artists kill themselves, and it's, I mean, a tragedy every single time. But it's just like the loss of, I mean, imagine the books, imagine the film adaptations, imagine the scripts. I mean, the dialogue in this novel alone is some of the best dialogue I have ever read in a book, period. The characters speak through the dialogue so clearly, and that's a hallmark green flag for a book, is if you can tell who's speaking without dialogue cues. So it's not just Mark said this guy said that, he said this back, he responded with this. When you can just leave the dialogue and leave it alone in a conversation of three people and know who's talking every time, it's magnificent. This is a work of art. That being said, I mean, I'm gonna obviously this book is a 10 out of 10 book. Go read it. This book, I mean, listen to it, because listening to it is, I mean, hilarious. I mean, let me pull up some of the audio, because the main, let me give you the rundown of the storyline. So the main character, Ignatius Riley, is a 30-something-year-old fat obese man with a mustache and a green hunting cap, who lives with his mom. And he's sort of this was written in the 1960s. He's sort of the very first depiction of an incel, maybe ever. And ironically enough, he's also, okay, we're not going to do that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ironically enough, he might be the first ever depiction of a social justice warrior as well. He's like a kind of like he's a liberal incel, which is a very interesting and prescient view on future America. He's 37. He lives with his mom. All he does is write all day long about his views on philosophy. He's a highly educated man. He has a PhD, but with all of his education, literally no one likes him, and his education has put him at a point where he believes, there's lots of themes of like narcissism. He believes that he's above everyone else. He's always theorizing on his ideas on the world and how things should work. He's an idealist. But he also is a social justice warrior, as in he wants to, so he has like this girlfriend who's in New York, who also went to college with him. And I mean, they terrorized the school. They were kind of a couple designed in hell. But he keeps on writing to her because she's doing all these things. She's writing to him, and she's like, I have a very important presentation in front of the school about sexual promiscuity in feminism, claiming the body back or whatever. And he's like, my God. Dude, the voice for him is so good. It's set in New Orleans, and he's got a thick New Orleans accent, and he's always talking about this whore. He's always like, he's just, Ignatius is such a funny character. My God, he's just so shocked every time he reads one of her letters. And then he gets jealous because she's doing all this stuff for like just social justice. And she's like, I'm over here in New York fighting the good fight for women's rights and like the gays and the blacks and stuff like that. So he tries to do this. And in New Orleans, he like stages he gets a job at this. So the main problem of the whole book arises when his mom tells him to get a job. His mom's like, well, his mom drives drunk and crashes into a pillar that collapses an awning, and she has to pay like $10,000 or something, which is a lot of money back then. So she's like, I can't do this by myself, Ignatius. You got to help me. And so Ignatius has to get a job, and he gets a job at this place called Levy Pants, which is this guy, Levy, who owns a pants factory. And he gets a job there as a file sorter, but he just literally throws all the files into the trash can and then into the dumpster. And his boss is like, I don't know how you're so fast with the sorting. And he's like, he writes in his journal all the time. He's like, they've had a really bad system of sorting. He's like, you can just throw all these away or something like that. But he ends up going down to the factory floor where all the black people work, and he talks to them, and he's like, oh my God, you guys aren't making any money. And he's like, I'll fight for you. And then he stages a revolution, a riot in the factory, and then they all rush up. It's so funny when he has when he stages the riot, he writes his poster on his sheets, and they unfurl the sheets, and the black people are like, ew, oh God. It's like a hush goes over the crowd, and his sheet is just like all yellow, like piss stains and cum stains. It's so funny. And on the front, it's like, workers' rights. We demand workers' rights or whatever. And he's like, all right, now charge. And they charge into the main office. And then he starts yelling at the black people. He's like, beat him! Beat him now! And they like knock over a plant. And he's like, no, beat him. He's like, attack. It's so good. So he's obviously an idealist, but he's also one of these like liberals who is like liberal to get pussy. So he's trying to get some liberal pussy from this girl, but he's also like extremely asexual, which is a very strange combination that's kind of casts an interesting view on what's going on in our life. But I mean, I'm not going to go on I explained the whole book. There's like a couple main storylines. There's a cop that accidentally arrested someone. That guy comes up later in the story. I mean, the whole book is like the best episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia or Seinfeld. It's like a movie. If that was a movie. Like, Ignatius is like this unlikable guy, but you can't help but like him. Like all the characters on Always Sunny. He's like Larry David, and how he's like trying to get justice or, whatever, but things always go bad for him. And so he's always talking about this, the Wheel of Fortuna. Oh, how the Wheel of Fortuna has spun negatively in my favor. He's always talking about this Wheel of Fortuna, the Wheel of Fortune, that is always spinning. He's like, people in their lives have series of down spins when the wheel keeps on spinning down and down. And he's like, I've just keeps on, but all the problems that happen are because of him. Like, if he would have just like not caused a riot, none of this would have happened. But then he gets fired, and then he has to work in a weenie shop and like selling weenies, which is like the lowest rung of society. Everyone thinks he's drunk. He has to dress as a pirate. I mean, people call him a big pervert. It's just so good. And he eventually he gets talking to this gay man who's like very flamboyantly gay, and he's like, oh my, I love your outfit. You are just so cute with your pirate outfit. He's like, I'm having a party, and I would love to have you there. And Ignatius sees this as a chance. He's like, are there going to be a lot of gay people there? He's like, oh yes, it's going to be a ball. And he's like, I can finally start my third party, because he wants to start this third political party to overthrow the Democrats and the Republicans and take back America. And he's like, it will be a party of just gay people. I mean, he's like, what could be better? He's like, they're too Actually, I think I have the quote here. It's so okay, wait, here it is. Okay, so he's talking about this third party that he's going to talk that'll save the world through degeneracy. So he's talking about gay people, but he's also so he's like a hardcore liberal, and also there's like points because he does want to save the world, and he like wants workers' rights, but he's and this is how I kind of see some liberals, by the way, and this is what's so prescient about this book is he is standing up for black people and gay people because he's like they're helpless. Like that's his the frame of mind that he's in. But he's like, our first step will be to elect one of their number to be some very high office, the president, if Fortuna spins us kindly. Then they will infiltrate the military. As soldiers, they will all be so continuously busy in fraternizing with one another, tailoring their uniforms to fit like sausage skins, inventing new and varied battle dress, giving cocktail parties, etc., that they will never have time for battle. The one whom we finally make chief of staff will want only to attend in his fashionable wardrobe, a wardrobe which alternatively will permit him to either chief of staff or debutante, as the desire strikes him. In seeing the success of their unified fellows here, perverts around the world will also band together to capture the military in their respective countries. In those reactionary countries in which the deviants seem to be having some trouble in gaining control, we will send aid to them as rebels to help them in toppling their governments. Guys, and listen, this is maybe the most important thing for you to hear right now. We will send aid to them as rebels to help them in toppling their governments. He's talking about sending aid to the perverts and degenerates. He's talking about gays, but this also applies to, the trans and the... This is a comedy, but this is actually literally almost happening. But when we at last have overthrown all existent governments, the world will enjoy not war, but global orgies conducted with the utmost protocol and the most truly international spirit. For these people do transcend simple natural differences. Their minds are on one goal. They are truly united. They think as one. So he wants to turn if the whole world becomes gay enough, then no one, they'll be just thinking about getting pegged and like using double-ended dildos and getting fucked on the Senate floor, that there'll be no problems, which is, fantastic, just so good. He also talks about, there's like a part in the beginning when he's talking about, when he's helping the black people revolt. He's like, that's another part. The movie scenes are so funny. In a sense, I've always felt something of a kinship with the colored race because its position is the same as mine. We both exist outside the inner realm of the American society. Of course, I can't read this because it does have the N-word in it. Okay, so let me play the actual audio because Ignatius reading this is so much better. Okay, here we go. This is the part. Yeah, here it is.
To which they have been subjected. Negroes are nonetheless a rather pleasant folk for the most part. I really have had little to do with them, for I mingle with my peers or no one, and since I have no peers, I mingle with no one. Upon speaking with several of the workers, all of whom seemed eager to speak with me, I discovered that they received even less pay than Miss Trixie. In a sense, I have always felt something of a kinship with the colored race because its position is the same as mine. We both exist outside the inner realm of American society. Of course, my exile is voluntary. However, it is apparent that many of the Negroes wish to become active members of the American middle class. I cannot imagine why. I must admit that this desire on their part leads me to question their value judgments. However, if they wish to join the bourgeoisie, it is really none of my business. They may seal their own doom. Personally, I would agitate quite adamantly if I suspected that anyone were attempting to help me upward toward the middle class. I would agitate against the bemused person who was attempting to help me upward, that is. The agitation would take the form of many protest marches, complete with the traditional banners and posters, but these would say, "And the middle class. The middle class must go." I'm not above tossing a small Molotov cocktail or two, either. In addition, I would studiously avoid sitting near the middle class in lunch counters and on public transportation, maintaining the intrinsic honesty and grandeur of my being. If a middle-class white were suicidal enough to sit next to me, I imagine that I would beat him soundly about the head and shoulders with one great hand, toss in quite deftly one of my Molotov cocktails into a passing bus jammed with middle-class whites with the other hand. Whether my siege were to last a month or a year, I'm certain that ultimately everyone would let me alone after the total carnage and destruction of property had been evaluated.
Okay, so that's like a little taste of the kind of liberal that the idealist that he is. There, that's Ignatius Riley. I mean, he is just. I mean, he's so good. And he. There's also a part where, guys. I mean, I could talk about this book all day, but there's parts where he goes into like some of the funniest parts of where he watches movies because he watches TVs and movies all the time, and he only watches them to like hate them. So he's like a hate watcher, um, which is like one of the lowest forms of enjoyment. Instead of like just doing things and watching things that you enjoy, but actually just watching them to hate them. It's sort of the modern like rubbernecking, but at media. And it is fun to watch, bad things, but when you actually the enjoyment is because they're bad is a different thing than watching them to physically hate them. So he's also and he hates the people on them too. There's one here. This is his mom talking. "Oh, it's not your fault, darling," she said glumly. "Maybe we can get a mortgage on the house. We can't do nothing. No, ma'am." "No, ma'am," the patrolman Mancuso answered, listening to some sort of approaching stampede. And this is Ignatius re-entering the room. "The children on that program should be gassed," Ignatius said as he strode into the kitchen with his knife. So this whole time, his mom is talking about how she's going to have to remortgage the house to pay back the damage on the thing, and he comes back and just talks about the children on that program should be gassed. Should all be gassed. "Ignatius, you know Mr. Mancuso. I believe I've seen him." And then later on, this is like chapter 11, I think. He goes to the movie. He blackmails this little kid to watch his weenie stand. And he goes to the movies in like a crowded theater. He's watching this movie and he's like, "Filth!" Ignatius snorted at the movie credits. All of the people involved in the film were equally unacceptable. A set designer in particular appalled him too many times in the past. The heroine was even more offensive than she had been in the circus musical. In this film, she was a bright young secretary who an aged man of the world was trying to seduce. He flew her in a private jet to Bermuda and installed her in a suite. On their first night together, she broke out in a rash just as the libertine was opening the bedroom door. "Filth!" Ignatius shouted, spewing wet popcorn onto several rows. "How dare she pretend to be a virgin? Look at her degenerate face. Rape her! Rape her!" So he's screaming in a movie theater for them. He's screaming in a movie theater that they should rape her. "They got some funny people in these matinees," a lady with a shopping bag said to her companion. "Just take a look at him. He's got an earring on." Then there was a soft-focused love scene. Ignatius began to lose control. He could feel the hysteria taking control. He tried to be silent, but he found he couldn't. "They're photographing them through several thicknesses of cheesecloth. Oh my God! How can you imagine how wrinkled and lonesome those two really are? I think I'm getting nauseated. Can't there be one projection booth? Turn off the electricity, please." He rattled his cutlass loudly against the side of his seat. An old usherette came down to the aisle and tried to grab the cutlass from him, but Ignatius wrestled her and she slid in the carpet, got up, and hobbled away. So, I mean, this book is a masterpiece. Oh, there's so many laugh out loud scenes. I was building our raised garden bed, laying brick and like mortar, and I was listening to this book, and there were several parts where I had to literally stop because I was dying laughing. And some of those movie scenes were the most funny because he's like, he's one of those people that is just so full of he's so self-conceited that he hates everything, and because he hates everything, everyone hates him, and this makes him more hateful at the world. And it's sort of this is the wheel of Fortuna just keeps on spinning downward faster and faster because he's done this to his own life. He is his own negative spinning wheel of Fortuna. But that's the Confederacy of Dunces, guys. You guys got to go check this out. It's a great Great book. Lots of good commentary on what's going on. Tragic story. Hilarious tale. I mean, I wish there was more from John Kennedy Toole. If there's a parallel universe where he was never killed himself, imagine. Well, the sad part is he would have killed himself if not then in like the 1990s when this imagine if he lived to 9/11. I mean, he would have killed himself. There's a million times when he would have killed himself. So really, it was probably going to happen eventually. So someone who hates the world like that would it's too tragic to see the world destroyed. And if he felt that way back in the 1960s, imagine the debauchery. Imagine Ignatius Riley in 2020. He looks at when he finds out the stat that almost 1 in every 10 girls has like an OnlyFans. I don't know if that stat's true or not. That could be propaganda, like Jewish propaganda to get people to do that. But I can just imagine Ignatius. Oh my God! Filth! What filth? Just absolutely gyrating. He's frothing at the mouth. Harlots! They're all harlots. We need to kill them all. He would literally say they need to kill them all. We need to start over. We need to start over. He's a riot. Go listen to that book. It's great. All right, let's the story time. The car accident. I was literally, this happened yesterday, and like I said, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, what a chill week it's been. It's been such a chill week, that's weird. I literally remember thinking to myself, oh my God, it's been such a chill week. It's Sunday, or no, it's Friday. I took Friday off to be with my fiance. We were going to go to lunch and dinner, and we just got back from getting lunch, which was, a fantastic. One of the best hamburgers I've ever had. A hamburger that actually was so good it made me sad. This hamburger made me so, it made me actually kind of sad because the hamburger was just so clean, and it was just burger, bun, lettuce, pickle, tomato, onion. No seasoning. The fries had 0 salt, just fried potatoes. Cut fried potatoes. Normal fry. It was the most raw burger I've ever had. Tasted like it brought me back to 4th of July's or Memorial Days or something like that, where you're grilling real beef on the thing. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, this is what was robbed from us. McDonald's. I told Natasha, my fiance, this. I'm like, this is probably how the first couple McDonald's tasted. Like this is how good things could have been. We could have had this for $4.95. A beautiful, clean, farm to table burger. Nothing, no MSG, no fucking pulp. Like I don't know what they're doing. Like wood pulp. There's nothing. It's just clean food. It digests easy, and it doesn't make you feel like shit afterwards. It's just clean, natural food. Of course, this one was expensive, about $20 a person probably, but it was, it's the birthday dinner and stuff. But it's like, I was just kept on eating the burger, and I was like, just so sad because it's like almost kept on reminding me of what we've been robbed. What has been robbed from us, our generation, future generations. That burger is the sublime rapture that boomers were able to get for 25 cents every single day. And now McDonald's is feeding you poison. They are actually trying to kill you. And that's what we've been robbed. But I was driving back from that lunch, and sitting at a red light behind me, I see in my rearview mirror, I'm like, oh shit. And I hear the screeching. I see the giant, I'm not even kidding when I tell you this, the giant fender coming towards me. Boom. I get hit in the back, and I roll my window down, wave him over. We pull into the thing. The back of my car is completely dented in. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'll show you a picture of it, but I'm gonna blur out the license plate. Obviously, I don't know what you can figure out with that, but I'm gonna. All right, here it is. This is, and I'm sure that one of you fucking geo-guessing fags can probably figure this out, but like figure out exactly where this was. But please, I mean, guys, just don't really do that. But here's the back of my car. Oh shit. There it is. All smushed in, crushed in as a Toyota Corolla. My Toyota Corolla, I talked to my so I get situated. I've never been in a fender bender before, so I didn't really know what to do. So I talked to the guy. I'm like, well, do you have your like insurance or something? I'm like, okay. And then he sends that to me in an email. And the guy comes out, and the guy's, I mean, the most hilarious person that could have hit me. First off, the car that he was driving was like a white, probably like Toyota Tundra or something. It's like the biggest car I've ever seen. But it also has like this giant metal jaw with like a tow cable in front of it. It could have, I couldn't have been hit by a more just a train of a car than that one. It literally had metal wrapped around the whole front, not just a cage. Like I've seen cages before. This legit had like a metal. Here, I have a picture of this one too. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it because this is not even just like a front cage. This is a full on, like the whole front bumper is just steel. Like, look at this. That's what we're working with. So this is what hit me. This giant, it's a Ram truck, lifted, multiple tow cables. And I was taking pictures of it. And I'm like, I honestly don't know what I'm taking pictures of here. And he's like, yeah, this thing's indestructible. I got hit by the only indestructible car in the whole world, which is maybe good for me because now my insurance doesn't have to pay for anything for him, which I don't know if I would have to anyways because it's not my fault or whatever. I was on the phone with the guy, my insurance guy. Shout out Ben. And I was talking to him, and I'm like, yeah, I got hit in the back here. I'm like, is there anything else that you need? I'm like, I got his insurance. I got a picture of the cars. He's like, all right, get a picture of his ID and a picture of his license plate. I'm like, all right. And he's like, did you call the cops yet? And I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, do I have to call the cops? And he's like, well, usually they just want to get a statement down from each of you. And I'm like, can I just like cut out the middleman and like get a statement from him and get it on video? And he laughed at me like he's never heard anyone suggest that before. Like there are people that I guess that only ever deal with the cops, but he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that would probably hold up if we had to go to court. I'm like, okay. So then I got my camera out and I had him I'm like, can you just tell me what you told me earlier? And wait, I actually think I pulled the video. I mean, this guy's the funniest guy in the world, by the way. I mean, this guy couldn't have been hit by a cooler dude. I mean, obviously I live in the South, so this guy comes out, no shirt, shades on, skinhead, chill ass guy. I think his name is literally Chill. Like, it's not Chill, but it's like, and when he shows me his ID, it's his first name, MF, last name. I'm like, dude, you are the best. He has a tattoo on his bicep, or maybe it was his chest, of like a minion. The guy is so cool, and he's funny too. But here, I'm not gonna show him, but I'll play the video.
I hit that guy. My truck ran into him. There was a red light.
Okay.
I tried to stop. Skidded tires. It didn't work.
And now he gives me a thumbs up, and behind the camera, I put up my thumbs up. Thank you, bro. He's just so chill. So I could have been hit more by a more chill guy. But yeah, so that was my day. That was my day yesterday. And yeah, so now we're getting into the news. I mean, whoever's still here, guys, put in the comments if you made it this far. Let's get into the news. I do have to go take a piss though. I have to take a fat piss. I'm gonna go I'm going to go piss real quick. All right, I'm back. Okay, so we have to talk about this. This is sort of the... And I don't know how I'm the first person who's in my... Like, anyone I know who's talking about this, but we have to talk about the white George Floyd situation, Henry Nowak. So, George Floyd, obviously, we covered it a little bit on this podcast, on this program. He was the guy who may or may not have been on fentanyl, who tried to pay with a fake $20 bill. Allegedly was I think not allegedly, was a porn actor at one point, and may have put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Something along the lines of those there. So that's so. But George Floyd that's George Floyd. This is another story. This is Henry Nowak or Novak. It's spelled with a W, but I think it's pronounced with a V, kind of German-esque. He was an 18-year-old this notably white George Floyd situation, who was talking to I guess got roughed up a little bit, roughed up to the point where he was stabbed a lot by a man who was wearing some sort of head turban thing, and this this situation is deeply disturbing. One, because these things are obviously charged, not sexually charged, but charged up in a way that is racial and that makes you think things that you wouldn't normally think or feel. And anything that puts feelings into you that are from outside of yourself can be used as, vectors of control for you. So we got to keep this in mind and, approach this with the, a light step, because these things always can be used for control. And whether you like it or not, the internet is a place where the things you say can and will be used against you, much as the Miranda rights. So what I say here are my opinions and my opinions only. I don't represent anyone else or anything like that, but they should be taken as 100% fact, is what I'm trying to say. And so let's just listen to the young man. Let's listen to the young man who was the stabber. So the stabber with the stabber with the hard R, I guess maybe the stabber, was this man who... Well, let's just listen.
And he's up here. Away, mate. He's obviously... He's fallen from there and he slipped from there.
There's other shoes left over there, mate.
What's your name, mate? Huh?
Actually, I don't know if I can show this. I do not... okay. I'll play the audio, but I don't know if I can show this because this... Unfortunately, the man in this video who is being arrested, Henry Nowak, the 18-year-old white kid who was just stabbed, in this video is in the process of being arrested. Now, you might ask, why is the guy who was stabbed being arrested? Well, in England, it appears to be a larger crime to be suspected of having been racist. Not being racist, suspected to have been racist, than it is to stab someone. So here he is being arrested, and he dies while on the ground. But here is the 911 call, or I guess the 999 call in England, from Vikram Digwa, who is a respectable member of England society. I'm sure, I mean, I don't even. Things are pretty tough in England as it is. And guys, if you're in England, write in the comments below, because you have my deepest sympathies, because I notice what's happening in England happening here. England, you have been systematically replaced in your own homeland, and there's nothing more tragic than being. I said this last time, but America is known as the melting pot, so we kind of understand that people are going to be coming here. Britain was never, I don't think, never branded as the melting pot, but you guys are in a melting pot, and it is getting the hot pot. The pot is hot. The pot is hot, and the pot is melting, and you have a lot of people there who probably shouldn't be there, and there are people that I know and people that I probably talk to that would say that what I just said right now is racist and sounds racist, but it's just the state of the world right now. There are people there that probably shouldn't be there. Now, if that's like some sort of like extremist thing of me to say, I'm sorry, but there are people there that have been invited and let there for the sole purpose of making things worse. I'll just put that there. Okay, now let's listen to this 999 call.
Then I go, he goes, oh, who do you think has a bad man? I was like, oh, look, I have a bad man. What? I'm speaking to you.
He's talking the voice of Gurpreet, the brother of the killer.
What did he say? Was he racially abusive?
The police need a report.
The police are asking, was he racially abusive? Was he racially abusive? Was he racially abusive?
Oh, come here. Yeah, he was. So basically, he stumbled into my brother.
What did he say?
Yeah. So he stumbled.
Listen to how horny this 911 this dispatcher is. Was he racially abusive? Please tell me he was racially abusive. Oh, what did he say? He's beating off. Oh, what did he say? Oh, give me some good racism. I want to call this in real big. Give me something really racist. Give me something really fucking racist. Tell him he ripped off your turban. Oh, he's coming. He's coming all over the place.
It's my brother.
No, you carry on. He stumbled into him, and then what did he do?
Okay. So he stumbled into you, and then what? Yeah, so he's walked into me, stumbled. He's drunk. I've clearly said to him, look, mate, you're drunk. Carry on about your day. Do what you need to do. And then what? Then he goes to me, who do you think you are? Who do you think? He goes, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, to my brother? And then what? And then he goes, oh, you're this, you're that. Who do you think you're bad man? I was like, yeah, I'm a bad man. What? Then he starts recording me. Right. As he's recording me, I snatched his phone. He's then laid a punch onto me. He's pushed me back and my turban's come off. He started then grabbing my head. So I then grabbed him and then he started pushing me.
He grabs my turban. My turban falls off. Oh, the dispatcher's coming all over the place. Oh my God. What did he say? Did he call you a dirty... Please tell me he told you a slur. He's so close to coming. He just wants there to be racism.
Attacking me even further and everything like that. At the minute now he's lying on the floor. He was trying to get away. He jumped over some bins and stuff on the other neighbour side. He jumped over the bins and tried to leave through the bin way. He's left a shoe here as well.
So he doesn't have any injuries?
Vikram has falsely claimed that his injuries were from falling. As you can probably see, multiple stab wounds are not the same as falling damage. So Mr. Novak was murdered, and thankfully, this guy Vikram Digwa has been arrested and sentenced to multiple years in prison. His brother arrested, multiple years in prison, hopefully life in prison for both of them, and their mother, who came and retrieved the ceremonial knife used for the murder, has also gone to prison. So, and I know that anytime that you have to arrest a doctor and a lawyer, and then the mother of a doctor and a lawyer, it's sad because the society loses a valuable member of it when you have to arrest these types of people. But they did, and they sentenced them to a long time in prison. Novak, rest in peace, has been an injustice has been had on him and his family, not once, not for just the murder of their child, Mr. Henry Novak, but the injustice is that these Vikram and his family shouldn't have been there. Like, I don't know. There's probably like a different timeline where Britain got locked down, where Novak's not dead, is what I'm saying. Like, maybe they put up the border. But I believe now they're doing a bit of a 360, and England is extremely pissed right now. They're having a full-on clash of, just listen to this shit. Listen to this shit. So when, and this shit pissed me off so bad. So they're putting the kid, he's 18 years old. They're putting him in handcuffs, and he's saying, "I can't breathe. I've been stabbed." Essentially saying, "Please help me. I'm dying." And this is how the police officer responds.
Yeah, right?
I've been stabbed.
What's happened to you, right?
And in the background, you hear the fucking scumbag making a commotion, talking over him, trying to distract the police officers.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? Don't think you have, mate.
I don't think you have, mate. He said, "I've been stabbed." He said, "I don't think you have, mate." What type of police officers are these? This is why I hate police officers, because they are instructed to do this. They are formed into machines. And what the current programming is into them is the output you're going to get from them. So whatever the programming that you put into a police officer is the output that you'll get from them. If you program a police officer with, "Watch out for racism," racism is a deep injustice to humanity, that will take precedence over, "Hey, check for his safety." If you input into a police officer that white people are inherently racist and the feelings of a underclass or an unrepresented individual, people, whatever, are they take precedent over the white person who has been head honcho for far too long, and it's about time they get their comeuppance. That's the input that's going into the Britain police force. So obviously this caused a bit of an outrage by the actual British people, so people that are British natives, if you will, as they clash with police officers here. Watch protesters and riot police clash near the home of Novak's killer.
Violent clashes between protesters and riot police. There have been riot police at both ends of the road, which we believe the Vikram Digra's family live on. Riot shields, police vans in place.
People are throwing beer cans at them.
Missiles.
People are throwing trash cans at the police officers. Officers get hit with a trash can. "No, I don't think you have, mate." Police officers crying because he got hit with a brick. "I got hit with a brick. Oh, my head hurts. I got hit with a brick." "I don't think you have, mate. I don't think you have been hit with a brick, mate." It's my genuine reaction.
Thrown, including water bottles, bricks. There was an electric scooter thrown at the police at one stage. Some of the protesters were quite bloodied as the police tried to
Oh, you got hit with an electric scooter. I don't think you have, mate. I don't think you have.
maintain control and hold the police line. The police helicopter, as you may hear, is in the skies above me. We've also had the police drone. A large crowd.
This is, guys, and when I said that this can be used as propaganda, this is the counter to the white people. First off, the British white people are they are particularly stressful class that you do not want to upset. You got to remember at one point, and this still lives in their blood. As a British person, if you're listening, this still lives inside of your blood, and this is why they are so rowdy, especially with the Irish too. Rowdy in a good way, I'm saying. There was one point when England owned almost the entire world, almost the known world, besides China and like, you know, whatever, Persia and stuff like that, Prussia or whatever it was called back then. There was a time when England owned almost the entire world. So that warrior mentality is still in the British whites, and that's why when they start getting rowdy, they don't want that. They don't want the British whites getting rowdy, just like they don't want the Irish to get rowdy. Some say that's what World War I and World War II were specifically designed to kill the people in those countries so that they could be systematically. I'm not saying that, but that's what some people have said. So that's my thoughts on the Henry Novak situation. Now, I truly hope that this doesn't devolve or degenerate into a South Africa situation. If you don't know South Africa, I mean, guys, just look up Rhodesia. Look up. There's a podcast that Theo Von did with someone from South Africa, and his whole family, the guy on the podcast, his family owned a farm in South Africa, and when which they were white and they owned a farm in South Africa, when the revolution happened, they came to his house where his mom and little sister and him were inside. They came to his house with guns and said, "This is our farm now." And he was forced to flee with his family. He said that he wanted to fight, he wanted to defend his land, and he only had a handgun. He was a small child. He only had a handgun. He said, "Mom, let me fight, let me defend." His dad said, "Put down the pistol, we have to leave." And so they came to America, and their farm was taken, and I'm sure where their farm is at right now is probably no longer a functioning farm, and it's probably some sort of, I don't know, trash heap or something like that. But it's a tragedy. South Africa is a tragedy of circumstance, and it's a scary warning. So now I hope England doesn't turn into this where they come for Novak's family and they say, "Hey, this is our house now," or whatever happens. It's just I don't know. We got to keep it moving here. We got to keep it moving. This is okay. Now this is actually kind of a hype moment. This is Pope Leo, the newest pope, the pope from Chicago. Recently, in his Magnificat Humanitas, quoted Gandalf. So in this Magnificat is kind of like a treatise that he writes. It's like an essay that the Pope writes and sends out, and he's coming for and coming at AI and Palantir and the mass surveillance and stuff. And he's from America, so he has American sensibilities and American wisdom and American sense of freedom. So as an American pope, as an American, you have some sort of internal mechanism that when you notice AI, the destruction of jobs, the destruction of land with AI facilities and data farms and whatever gates of hell they are, the destruction of land, the clearing of pasture, the observing of citizens, the full surveillance of a civilization. When you notice these things, as an American at least, it is a visceral reaction that makes you upset to the point of retribution. So Pope Leo, I think, has some of these, and he has quoted Gandalf. So let me see the quote. Let's see, where's the quote? Give me a sec, I gotta find this shit. Okay, I found it. Here it is. So here's Pope Leo, quotes Gandalf, and here's the quote is from The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, where the famous wizard addresses the gathering of the lords of the allies at the gates of Minas Tirith. At this point, Denethor and Theoden are dead, and Faramir is recovering from his wounds to the House of Healing. Among the listening is Aragorn. Here's the quote in full. Other evils are that there are that may come. Other evils there are that may come. For Sauron is himself but a servant or emissary. Yet it is not our part to master all the tides of this world, but to do what is in us for the succor of our years wherein we are set, uprooting the evil in the fields that we know, so that those who live after may have clean earth to till. What weather they shall have is not ours to rule. So he's making an ominous threat to, and this is kind of a double dose of damage here, because he's quoting Lord of the Rings, which Palantir, that cuck, what's that guy's name? Peter Thiel or something? Peter Thiel named Palantir after the Palantiri in Lord of the Rings, which are the globes that let you see a glimpse of the future, or to other Palantir. And so he names all of his shit off Lord of the Rings. He's using a Gandalf quote against him. So it's multi-layered here, Pope Leo. Pope Leo has one of my favorite. He's now the dopest. But he's talking about how, one, the environmental damage of AI and its consequences, which, I mean, yes, there are environmental damage, but it's not my biggest issue. My biggest issue is, well, yes, it dries up the water, and yes, for some reason they have to be 40 acres big, but it's a mental environment that it's damaging. It's ruining the minds of humans. It's ruining the ability for jobs, the ability to produce wealth, the ability to maneuver in a marketplace of jobs. It removes the ability for a future for the population. And these are all things that AI has brought to. And I said this a long time ago, guys. I said this a long time ago, but I think the episode is called The Drums of War. It's like a 1 or 2 part episode. But I think I mentioned AI being the ring, and how there has to be someone who's brave enough to toss AI cast it into the fire, and rid the world of the power of AI. Gandalf even said, and this is why you can't use AI, because using AI, you can't use AI to defeat AI. It goes against everything. When Gandalf was offered the ring, he said, "No, I can't use the ring. I would be too tempted to use it. The power would overwhelm me." Even Gandalf, a wise wizard, would be tempted by the ring. and would have to use it, and he would be scared how he would use it, even a wise wizard. So, and that's Gandalf. That is Gandalf. And you got to think the only people that were able to do it were the smallest, the meekest, the small hobbit, Frodo, and his friend Sam. And up to the very last moment, Frodo changed his mind. Even at the very last moment, Frodo changed his mind. And it took a corrupt being and his hatred and his want to reverse the tides. And eventually, one corrupt person, which is Gollum's own greed, brought him and it to its death. So even Frodo, at the very last minute, couldn't toss the ring. And I think George R.R. Martin said this, but it was an act of God what happened that day. It was an act of God that brought the thing down. And I don't know if we have any acts of God coming our way. We can only hope that something takes down AI. But that's Lord of the Rings. I mean, you guys have to watch it. If you can't, if you watch it, then read it. Do both. Listen to it. Whatever. Listen to just. I mean, the music is just. I mean, great itself. I mean, I love this one quote by Sam. Let me play it. Here it is. Help YouTube, please don't take this down. I'm just playing this. It's just a clip.
I know. It's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
By rights, we shouldn't even be here. But we are.
Sam, I think technically Sam is probably the protagonist of the story, by the way.
It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end. Because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing. This shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it'll shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you. That meant something. Even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going. Because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo.
God, that's a powerful scene. There is some good. We're just holding on to that. There is some good in this world. There is some good in this world, and the good is in people, and that there are some people. I don't know if they're in AI right now, if they're in these factories, but or maybe they're the CEOs, but if Pope Leo is the one to start the jihad, it's called the Butlerian Jihad, where they revolt against thinking machines, and that's why in Dune they said, "Thou shalt not make a computer in the image of a human mind." If Pope Leo says the word, I'm activated. Pope Leo, just say the word, I'm out there. If there's a Butlerian Jihad, I'm one. Let me read this quote that I saw by David. Not that F word that killed his girlfriend, but This is David, the guy from the Bible. Oh God, how I wish to kill the wicked. This is how much of a gangster David was, by the way. Oh God, how I wish to kill the wicked. How I wish violent people would leave me alone! Exclamation point. They say wicked things about you. They speak evil things against your name. O Lord, how I hate those who hate you. How I despise those who rebel against you. I hate them with total hatred. I regard them as my enemies. You got to be ride or die that much for goodness. That's how much you want to have goodness be everywhere, that you're willing to ride or die for goodness. Just like Sam was able to ride or die with his bro Frodo, just for the sake of goodness, for the sake of anti-evil, taking him out. But I think we'll stop this episode, and I mean, I still have a ton of stuff to cover, so we might just flip this off and do a part 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this, and maybe we'll flip to a part 2 in here in a minute. Goodbye. Let's play this out.